Breaking news, hot off the press. North Korea threatens Australia now with nuclear strikes if they continue to play ball with the U.S. This is on abc.net.au. The article is titled, North Korea Threatens Nuclear Strike Against Australia If It Doesn't Stop Blindly Towing U.S. Line. And this just came out less than an hour ago. This is an exclusive by defense reporter Andrew Green. You can read all about it on abc.net.au. What I will tell you is if you see the distance from North Korea to Australia, well, this is Central Australia. You're looking at 7,300 kilometers, or for us Americans, that's about 4,500 miles. Now, let's say you shed another 1,500, even 1,500 miles. Let's say 3,000 miles. They don't have anything that's nearly advanced enough to go that distance. As a matter of fact, here is a list of what they have access to, and here's a timeline. Every single year, there's another nuclear missile test that fails in North Korea. It seems like the status quo. And yes, there's Operation Gotham Shield going on in a couple of days in the New Jersey, New York area. I also was told that same exercise went on last year also. So it's definitely something we need to be aware of. Also, somebody brought up on the Leak Project comment section, this was a good observation, the film Oblivion. Excellent movie. Excellent movie. I really enjoy that film. I wonder if we're in a type of scenario like that now sometimes, Ghost in the Machine kind of situation. But in the film Oblivion, there is the MetLife Center, the stadium, in that film. And if you've watched the series, not the series, if you've watched the movie, you will see clearly that is a situation that we don't want. That is a scenario that would not be good for our planet, but maybe for some type of transhumanistic parasitic entity. So these are, this is a list essentially of all the missiles. And if you look through the majority of what they have, it's like mid-80s technology. And they've got about 1,000 to 1,500 kilometer range. So why are they threatening Australia now? And is anybody in Australia even worried about this? You know, once again, let's go back to this map here. You can see it's a long way away. I really doubt North Korea is going to bring in some terrorist cell nuke briefcases into Australia. It just seems like this whole thing is either made up to scare the masses or be some type of psyop campaign, or maybe Kim Jong-un really is that crazy that he thinks by threatening nations they'll give him more money or something. Maybe this is his way to blackmail other nations for money. I do find it interesting that this quote that came from an executive or a spokesperson, I should say, for North Korea wasn't named. It just said that person said that if Australia keeps playing ball with America and talking bad about North Korea, then they're going to launch a nuclear strike. So wag the dog, ladies and gentlemen, is this a wag the dog scenario, or is this legit? Do you think that North Korea is a threat to Australia? I could certainly see North Korea being a threat to Japan and South Korea just because of the proximity. But in this type of distance, with the amount of North Koreans that are probably in Australia, there's probably not that many. I doubt there's very many sleeper cells of North Koreans anywhere in the world. What's your thoughts? Question everything, leakproject.com. Be the change you want to see.
Hello, everyone. Just got a quick important headline update here. All the links will be in the description to check out further. Just going to summarize the articles here. U.S. Navy strike group to move toward Korean Peninsula. U.S. Navy strike group will be moving toward the western Pacific Ocean near the Korean Peninsula. U.S. official told Reuters Saturday as concerns grow about North Korea's advancing weapons program. Strike group Carl Vinson includes an aircraft carrier and makes its way from Singapore towards the Korean Peninsula, according to the official who was not authorized to speak. We feel the increased presence is necessary, according to North Korea's worrisome behavior. This is just from NBC. Yesterday, Trump's options for North Korea include placing nukes on South Korea. National Security Council has presented Trump with options to respond to the nuclear program, including putting American nukes in South Korea or killing dictator Kim Jong-un. Multiple top-ranking intelligence military officials told NBC News. Both scenarios are part of an accelerated review of North Korea policy. The White House hopes the Chinese will do more to influence Pyongyang through diplomacy and enhance sanctions. If that fails, North Korea continues its development nukes. There are other options on the table that would significantly alter U.S. policy, and they already said that they will act alone if they have to. First and most controversial action is placing U.S. nukes in South Korea. They withdrew them 25 years ago. Bringing back the bombs likely at Osan Air Base, less than 50 miles of the capital Seoul, would mark the first overseas nuclear deployment since the end of the Cold War, an unquestionably provocative move. We have 20 years of diplomacy and sanctions under our belt and has failed to stop the North Korean program. I'm not advocating preemptive war, nor do I think the deployment of nuclear weapons buys more for us than it costs, but he stressed that the U.S. is dealing with a war today situation, and he doubted that Chinese and American interests coincided closely enough to find a diplomatic solution. That wasn't enough. U.S. envoy to UN threatens further military action in Syria. The United States Friday threatened to take further military action in Syria following its missile strikes on an airbase in the war-racked country in retaliation for a suspected chemical attack. The United States took a very measured step last night. U.S. ambassador told the UN Security Council, "We are prepared to do more, but we hope it will not be necessary." Security Council is meeting an emergency session to discuss the actions in Syria, and Russia branded it a flagrant violation of international law and an act of aggression against Syria. Russia warns of serious consequences from U.S. strike in Syria. Russia warned on Friday the U.S. cruise missile strikes in the Syrian airbase could have extremely serious consequences as Trump's first major foray into a foreign conflict opened a rift between Moscow and Washington. And Kremlin tells the U.S. it is one step away from war, as Trump warns he will hit Syria again after his attack on Russia's ally Assad triggers fears of World War III. Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev denounced Trump in his first direct American raid on Assad's forces. The president authorized the firing of 59 cruise missiles at a military airfield. They said it was a retaliation for the alleged Assad's use of chemical weapons. U.S. ambassador, we're prepared to do more. Hope we will not be necessary. Vladimir Putin has now diverted the warship Admiral Gigorovich to protect the Syrian coast. And today, Syrian aircraft took off from the airfield in an apparent act of defiance. This has happened today, too. Despite U.S. missile barrage, Syria continues airstrikes against rebels, so the base is still functional. It wasn't totally destroyed. They still got runways. They still got planes. Syria, U.S. warns Assad of using chemical weapons again. Tensions with Russia rise. The U.S. says Assad must abide by deal not to use chemical weapons, but fails to outline objectives. The U.S. says it has put Bashar Assad on notice and that it will take further military action if he uses chemical weapons again, while appearing to back away from wider military involvement in the Syrian conflict less than 24 hours after launching Tomahawk missiles. The United States will no longer wait for Assad to use chemical weapons without any consequences. Those days are over, the U.S. ambassador told the UN Security Council. The U.S. took a very measured step. We are prepared to do more. We hope that will not be necessary. All right. And Boris Johnson, the UK Foreign Secretary, has canceled the Moscow trip. It was going to be the first one in 5 or 6 years, and he canceled it now because of this. Canceled trip to Moscow over the conflict, and he's going to be meeting with the G7 meeting instead. Iran is now, U.S. strike in Syria raises tensions with Iran. Officials in Iran accuse White House of violating international law and siding with Islamic State. U.S. airstrikes stoked new tensions with Iran and generated calls in Tehran for increased military support for President Bashar Assad's regime. Iranian officials said it violated international law and accused Trump of siding with Islamic State and al-Qaeda in Syria. Not even 2 decades after 9/11, U.S. military is fighting on the same side as al-Qaeda and ISIS in Yemen and Syria. Iranian foreign minister tweeted on Friday, "Time to stop the hype and the cover-ups." And arrest of illegal criminals jumps by 250% in 1 week. As promised, immigration police have expanded their campaign to deport illegals with criminal records, announcing the seizure 368 illegals in 7 states and Washington, D.C. That's a nearly 250% increase over the 106 announced a week earlier. The biggest seizures by Immigration and Customs were in Texas, but they made arrests as far as Wyoming. What's more, they targeted members of the violent MS-13 gang charged with sex crimes against kids. In one 5-day campaign, Virginia and Washington, 82 illegals from 26 countries were arrested. And Venezuelans pour into the streets of Caracas in anti-Maduro protests. Venezuela's government fired tear gas, rubber bullets, some thousands of opponents of President Maduro who poured in the streets of Caracas Saturday amid a week-long protest movement that shows little sign of losing steam. The demonstrations in the capital and several other cities came a day after Maduro's government barred the top opposition leader from running for 15 years. The ban capped a tumultuous 10-day crackdown that saw pro-government groups rough up several opposition leaders and another seek refuge in a foreign embassy to escape arrests. think this was like the biggest protest in at least 2 years since 2014. I read another article. And panic damages 3 strong quakes hit the Philippines. A trio of strong earthquakes damaged buildings and caused panicked tourists to flee a popular dive resort in the Philippine capital on Saturday. No immediate reports of casualties from the quakes, the strongest of which hit the coast to Manbini, a resort town. The first 5.5 magnitude tremor struck at 3:08, followed by 5.9 just a minute later, and then 5.0 hit 20 minutes after that. So 5.5, 5.9 downgraded to 5.7, and 5.0 20 minutes later. And Iceland is on high alert with a volcano due to erupt. So there's a bunch of them. This is just one of them. I think one of them is really about to blow. Katla, this is the most active one. There's, I think, 3 or 4. It was like a week or 2 ago. You got to pull up the other article. I think this one's ready. Underneath all the ice, Katla is ready to blow. So this was the most serious one. But like I say, I think there's 3 to 5 of them that are due to go. They're all looking not good. And laser weapons are edging towards the use in the military. Great. Oh, this is our other Venezuela one. Sorry, got to close that one. All right, everyone. That's just my quick little update today. Right now, please let me know what you think. All the links will be in the description. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Take care. God bless. Talk to you soon.